Welcome to this video, guys. I can't do intros. I hate doing intros. It feels so weird. Let's just get into this Obsession versus Backrooms. Let's see which movie is superior. Starting off with the story. With Obsession, you have this guy who wants to make this girl fall in love with him, and he does a freaking magic, and it does happen. But unfortunately, the girl becomes crazy. She becomes, I guess you could say, possessed. The best part about this movie for me is Nikki getting weirder and weirder as the movie progresses. It's so fun and funny and freaky to watch. On the other side, you have Backrooms, a movie where Clark finds this mysterious dimension under his business, and he ends up dying. But also you have Mary, his therapist, who also ends up going there to find him, and she gets trapped in this dimension. She doesn't die, and we know the story. I'm not gonna go into the details. All I'm gonna say though is Clark needs some friends, because you find this mysterious ass place, and the first person you go to is your therapist. Nah, dude, nah. That's kind of sad. I think the better story here, the more interesting story for me, is Obsession, just because I find it so funny, guys. It was so funny. You can't tell me the scene at the dinner party when Bear is dared to kiss another girl, and bro, Nikki just goes freaking crazy. There's so many scenes like that makes you think like, oh my days. Acting, which movie had the better performances? I feel like they're both really good, of course. These are high-level actors, but I have to lean towards Obsession because of Nikki, and I'm pretty sure her name is Indy. I'm not even gonna try pronounce your last name because I just don't know. Her performance as Nikki is the better or the best out of both these movies. The parts where you see Nikki kinda get out of this possession and is her normal self, and then she quickly snaps back into being this lovely girlfriend, is so good. I love her performance. Writing, I was going to say Backrooms for this category, but now in the moment thinking about it, I have to go with the Obsession. Not just because I find it very funny, but just because of certain moments of Nikki just being a weirdo, and the writing for her character is so good. Backrooms, I do like you. I like the movie. So far, this is looking like a sweep. Cinematography, it has to go to Backrooms, mainly because of how the set design is so good. Going into each room and it's a different setup, it's random shit on the floor. I also love how the characters engage with the different rooms, and some rooms it's so random, like there's a little door you have to go through, or there's a door on top of the freaking roof, or in a freaking small corner. Even though, of course, Obsession, I do really like how it's shot and the decisions made there, but I will give you this one, Backrooms. Soundtrack and score. Listening back to both these movies, Obsession, some of those soundtracks are just so good. Maybe I'm being biased because I feel like I can listen to some of those songs, I guess, in my normal day-to-day life, whereas for Backrooms, I don't feel that. Even forgetting about that, I do feel like the soundtrack for Obsession does work. No, okay, not even work better for the movie, because Backrooms, what happens there in the soundtrack is still obviously really good, but I prefer Obsession. Backrooms, of course, it does a very good job of having this anxious feeling in every room they go into, and then the climax, the soundtrack there is also really good. So it's not bad, of course. I feel like it's really hard for movies to have a horrible, bad soundtrack. I can't think of any movie that I have thought like, whoa, that's a horrible soundtrack. Directing, I am going to go with Backrooms because Kane Parsons' directing in terms of how the characters should engage with the different rooms, well, that's mainly the main part here, because when you really deep it, the way the characters engage with the rooms is really crucial for this movie to succeed. This also goes for even Obsession, right? The directing or the instructions for how Nikki's character should behave and the different shit she does is also really good. Which movie had the best scene? The scene in Backrooms when Clark ties up Mary and they're having this dinner with these other creatures in the background, and Clark is forcing her to admit that all the issues in his life is not his fault. This is the best scene in both movies. I loved every bit of this scene. Which movie is more memorable? Now, I did say Backrooms had the best scene, but Obsession is the more memorable movie because there are multiple scenes where you are watching this and you're feeling like, holy shit, this is crazy. This is why this movie has such a good word of mouth in terms of people telling other people to watch it because it's so crazy, and I think it's pretty obvious that this is the more memorable movie. The party scene where Nikki is so weird, the scene where Bear wakes up and Nikki is in the corner telling him to go back to sleep, the scene where Nikki kills the other girl, I forgot her name, I think it's Sarah, but that is crazy because that came out of nowhere. The scene where Bear comes back and there's a dead body in his freaking living room is crazy. I found Obsession really funny, more funny than scary or bleak, but I can totally understand how people felt like a sense of bleakness when it came to this movie. Okay, so with all these categories, which movie do I think is better? I think Obsession is the better movie, slightly, very slightly, because I do think both these movies are 7 out of 10, so it's not like Obsession is a higher rating than Backrooms, but I do prefer Obsession. I do think it's better slightly. I will say though, I feel like both these movies have a very good chance of aging better, like on my second rewatch or third rewatch, because Obsession, maybe next time I do find it a little bit more scary now, and the Backrooms, maybe I do understand what was trying to be done by Kane Parsons better. So you know, there's potential there. Let me know what you guys think. Which movie do you think is better? Am I tripping with the categories and what I gave for each category? Let me know in the comments. Okay, Unplugged. I have been watching a lot of Spielberg movies because, you know, Disclosure Day is coming this week, so I'm trying to get ready. I'm watching as much as possible. The last movie I watched was AI, Artificial Intelligence, and all I'm gonna say for this movie is the ending, the last 20-ish minutes. Bro, that shit was crazy. Crazy. Like, when I say crazy, I mean like I was tearing up at the ending, which is crazy because throughout the movie I didn't care about this kid. I was not really vibing with the movie. Spielberg just went crazy at the ending, and it got me. It got me. I also watched Minority Report a few days ago, and yeah, amazing movie, 9 out of 10. Also a movie with a really good ending, which deadass made me give it a higher rating, 9 out of 10. Even for AI, Artificial Intelligence, I was going to give that like a 6 out of 10, maybe even 5 out of 10, but the ending bumped it up to a 7 out of 10. Something I want to bring up today is expectation versus reality. And I guess in terms of movies, like when you really are anticipating a movie to be really good, for example, like Disclosure Day, I am really expecting this movie to be really good because the trailers have been great, and Spielberg is one of the best to ever do it, so I am expecting peak in this movie. However, this can also mess up your viewing experience because if it's not as good as you're hoping, then you know you're going to feel underwhelmed. Even if it's like a 7 out of 10, you can still feel underwhelmed because you were hoping for a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 movie. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this Unplugged. I don't have anything else to talk about.